The following podcast contains alcohol-enhanced conversations about alcohol, as well as the potential for the discussion about topics of dubious, disturbing, possibly offensive, but usually hilarious interest. The opinions stated herein are solely of the persons making them, and any endorsement of these opinions by any other party is not implied. Foul language is likely, but intolerant viewpoints are not. Listener intoxication is advised. Hello and welcome to episode 38 of the Whiskey Tangent Podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Ed.
And this time we have something a little bit special for you and for us because tonight we are marking a significant anniversary and milestone.
Who would have thought?
So not only are we just over 2 years from the launch of our podcast in April of 2019, but this right here, the episode that you're listening to right now, is our 100th podcast.
So now we can go into syndication on TV land.
Right. Now that 100 includes our full-length capital E episodes, which are numbered, our usually shorter Whiskey Shorts, and our other formats like Whiskey Wormholes, Whiskey Memories, and our Whiskey Madness tournaments. But it does not count any special announcement podcasts, of which we did 2, and that's just the way we do things. We overthink everything.
It's not a podcast. If we're just saying, hey, listen to our podcast next week.
Exactly.
And we're taking off the last Thursday of the month for you guys to catch up. That's not a podcast. It's just an announcement. That doesn't count.
Exactly. So if you go to our website, you'll see we have 102 as of this release of this, but it's actually 100.
Yes. Feel free to listen to the announcements too, though they're no longer relevant.
Right. Exactly. So, in honor of our podcast 100 and our 2-year anniversary, we thought we might attempt sort of a reboot of our very first podcast, episode 1, in which we pitted Bulleit Rye against Redemption Rye. But this time, not only are we switching from ryes to bourbons, we've also got 2 expressions of each brand. So, as always, Ed's here to introduce you to the 4 brand new to the podcast spirits we'll be comparing, contrasting, tasting, and no doubt enjoying tonight.
Right. Now, some of these have been mentioned on the podcast, but we've never had them. So the first grouping, we're going to have Bulleit Barrel Strength Bourbon, which is 58.3% alcohol.
Yikes.
Which is about 118, I guess, 117, 118. Check my math.
116.6.
Right. I said close to 17. 18 was wrong. We also have going against that Redemption High Rye Bourbon, a single barrel select, and it's 105 proof. So no slouch there. It was a Mount Ephraim Canals pick.
Mount Ephraim, New Jersey, which it isn't even a mountain because New
Jersey's flat as a white girl's ass at a rave.
Oh my God.
So after that, we're going to do one of my favorite bourbons, to be honest with you, is the Bulleit 10-year. It is absolutely delicious. This comes in at around 45.6, so 91.2, I guess, or something like that. So the last one, the Redemption 9-year barrel proof. It's not as hot as some of the barrel proofs we've seen, coming in at 108.2, and you compare it with the Bulleit or anything that Barrel Spirits likes to put out and melt the paint off your wall. They make a big deal out of this. I mean, the high rye bourbon, I forget what I paid for that, but I want to say it was around $45. But this one was $89, $90, right?
100.
It was 100, but I've seen it for cheaper.
Yeah, 89 is probably the very lowest.
Yeah, I have seen it for 89. I probably should have got it because Scott had to pay like 99 for it. And that's a lot of money to spend on Redemption. So we're going to be quite critical.
We are.
Of the Redemption 9-year that all of a sudden feels like it's a $100 bottle.
Right. That's why we're saving that one for last, so we taste the other 3 ahead of it, and the big expensive one, we're going to put it through its paces.
Now, the 10-year Bulleit you can find for about $50. I got it for $37.99 online from Flaviar. So I feel like
it's pretty good.
If that 10-year beats the flavor profile of the triple price Redemption 9-year, we're going to have a conversation. But we're not going to review the ancient history of Bulleit bourbon. If you want to hear about Augustus Bulleit, who disappeared with a load of whiskey on a trail.
Yeah, you could go back and listen to episode 1. They talk about Augustus, his great-great-great-grandfather, a tavern keeper in the 1830s, Louisville, Kentucky. He said he was dedicated to one goal. After experimenting with countless varieties, he finally came upon a bourbon with the character he had long sought after. On one fateful day, while transporting his barrels of bourbon from Kentucky to New Orleans, Augustus Bulleit vanished. What happened is still unknown, and his creation nearly disappeared into history along with him. I mean, that's total bullshit, right?
And his recipe, they thought was lost with him, but they found a slip of paper in
an old boot at a thrift shop.
Right. Amazing. So when his distant generational relative, Tom Bulleit, started Bulleit in 1987, it was originally distilled at the Ancient Age Distillery. He actually contracted it to be distilled at Ancient Age Distillery, which is different than the non-distiller producing model that we have today. Somehow that's different. Sounds like the same to me.
Yeah, it does sound the
So
same.
the first Bulleit bottles came out in 95. And here's the biggest thing we're going to talk about. It was bought by Seagram's, and then Seagram's was bought by Diageo, and Diageo still kind of owns them, but not the distillery anymore because I got sold.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that on our second part of our sourcing episodes.
So they were unofficially, their headquarters for years has been at the Stitzel-Weller distillery. And the brand kind of caught fire to the point where they built this huge welcome center there, like a Bulleit bourbon experience for like $10 million.
Yeah.
And yet while they were doing that, they've been building their own distillery in Shelby County, Kentucky, which has been open since 2017. And see, they say that Bulleit's 5 to 8 years. So
yeah, it's not ready yet.
They need a couple of years. So they're still sourcing all of their Bulleit. Now, we don't know where. And this is the biggest issue with Bulleit today.
Yeah.
We know pretty well that after it got done being made by the Buffalo Trace people, Four Roses supplied them with the majority of their bourbon. Yeah. Just like in 2011, when they expanded their brand to include a rye, MGP has been providing their 95.5 rye mash bill since 2011.
Yes.
Even though they were still part of the whole Seagram's conglomerate at that point, it's very confusing.
Yeah, right. We're going to sell this distillery to you, but we still want to source from you because we own the brand.
Right. Four Roses supposedly cut them off officially in 2015. And I've seen stuff online that said Bulleit bourbon is still sourced from Four Roses because they have so much. But there's a pretty good fact that the tenure that we're drinking is still all Four Roses.
Right, because it had already been barreled and they were just aging it. But today, it has to be from Kentucky, and there's only a few that can handle this volume. The Beam Suntory, right? And Barton's and Heaven Hill.
And they also speculate that the barrel strength we're going to have tonight is also still barrels left over from the Four Roses, because that's why they're using them.
Yeah.
And they only put out 3,000 cases a year of the barrel strength, though it's not like they're using a lot of it.
Okay.
Which is why, you're going to spend upwards of $60 for that. And I think that's reasonable because of its rarity and because it's barrel strength.
Right.
So I'd say that the book is not finished being written on Bulleit.
No.
Until they come out with their own distilled product in a bottle, we won't know.
Yeah, that's the risk you run when you've been sourcing so long and you have a particular taste profile. Can you reproduce that when you're distilling your own?
And can you produce enough to be you?
Yeah.
And keep up with your own demand when you are one of the highest selling bourbons in the country.
Yeah, we'll see.
So I think that what we're going to have for probably the next 10 years will be similar to a High West product where they blend some of theirs with some of the sourcing.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because they need to keep similar flavor profiles and gradually change to what they want it to be.
Yeah, because if it changes drastically, I mean, you don't want to new coke it.
Right, because the reason people are saying that the 10-year is Four Roses is because their taste buds are saying it. Because these are people that drink Four Roses a lot, and then they drink 10-year Bulleit, and they're like, oh, Four Roses.
Right.
And we've talked about on here how Four Roses are magicians with their mash bills and their yeast use. And they can do a lot of different concoctions within their flavor profiles.
Awesome.
All right, so we got the Bulleit Bourbon Barrel Strength in our glass right now. We're going to smell it. It's 117 proof.
Right.
68-28-4 mash bill, aged 5 to 8 years.
Obviously getting a lot of alcohol in the nose because it's so high proof. It smells nice, though. It smells like a really nice, deep, rich bourbon. Corn, a little bit of cherry.
Yeah, I'm getting all that.
There's a hint of floral note. Just a hint. And I guess that's from the high rye. It's the rye saying hello. Hi, rye.
I'm getting like a buttery sugar caramel.
Yeah.
But yet there's spice, man.
There's oak there, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a nice nose.
It is.
All right.
So on the taste.
Deep and rich and cherry.
Very cherry.
Yeah.
We're drinking it neat right now, but I'm just about to switch to some that I've had on ice.
That cherry flavor really hits you. This is extraordinary.
Do you have some on water?
I'm just about to put it in.
Wait, do you put some water on? When you knock this proofage down about 10 points, it's very smooth for the amount of fire that's contained within it. It's very smooth. Oak is my first flavor I get.
Yeah, so unproofed, it tastes like cherries. Proofed, it brings out a little bit of oakiness and spice.
Yeah, black pepper is what I'm getting on the tongue.
The cherry's still there, but it's just not dominating.
Wow, it's
really
good.
It's really nice.
It is very nice, but I have to say, I feel like the flavors are a little bit disjointed in my mouth. They're laying in there like there's some vanilla, there's some oak. They're not blending. That might be a very nitpicky critique, but...
Yeah, you're saying that they're not really well balanced. And I get that with the water on it. What I want to do is pour myself, I have some, a little bit still neat because I really enjoyed that cherry flavor and I want to try to get past that and see if I can taste anything else.
Yeah, like once you let the alcohol dissipate though.
I mean, you get some oak on the finish. The oak and spice is on the finish, whereas when you put some water in it, the oak and spice comes to the forefront and the cherries are pushed to the back.
There's something I can't identify.
Yeah.
Almost like a mint.
Oh. At the very,
finish.
very end.
The finish.
Something like a menthol, a coolness on the tongue.
It's funny. I'm looking at a review here, and it says the finish lingers and turns a touch bitter near the end.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm saying I'm getting the mint, which may be what he's saying is bitter. I don't know.
Yeah. Like a bitter herb.
And also because of the reasonable price range, for those people out there that love high proof cocktails, this could be something for you.
Ooh. This would work tremendously in a Manhattan at its proof because of the cherry flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoy this so much more without water as is my want. But like we said, the water brings out notes that I don't think that are missing. Like I don't miss the oak and spice when I'm tasting it neat.
Right.
But if you like oak and spice, you could get this and absolutely bring those flavors out.
There's something on the aftertaste that is slightly off-putting.
Yeah.
It wouldn't stop me from drinking it. It's just noticeable. Almost like a leather to go with the mint now that I'm tasting it more. I mean, I haven't sipped in a while, so now like while it's in my mouth, there's like a leather aftertaste, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's almost earthy, like maybe tobacco or something.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to move to the Redemption?
Yeah, let's do that.
Right, so this is the High Rye Bourbon.
Yep, I have some Redemption history.
I'll pour for us while you share your knowledge.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay, so Redemption history. Even though it may seem that Redemption's been around a while, it was actually just 12 years ago, in 2009, that two veterans of the whiskey industry, Dave Schmeier and Michael Canbar, became aware of a sharp rise in individual rye whiskey sales at liquor stores, when ryes had always been primarily purchased in bulk by bars and restaurants for use as a base for making cocktails. Both men, having already been fans of rye whiskey's spicier character, soon decided to get in on the action and go into business together producing rye whiskeys as well as high rye bourbons. And from the beginning, the Redemption brand purchased their whiskeys exclusively from MGP, who produces over 80% of the rye whiskey made in America. Initially focusing on the wide middle of the whiskey marketplace, the $30 to $50 price range, and spirits aged younger than 4 years.
I got a little bit of a wide middle myself. I'm working on it.
Wide middle whiskey marketplace. It's right there.
Whiskey's part of it, there's no doubt.
But after only a few quickly successful years in the marketplace, Ed's midsection, Redemption was purchased by the Deutsch Family Wine and Spirits Company in 2015, who also owns Bibb & Tucker, Masterson's, and the Yellowtail brand of wines.
Wow.
Additionally, Dave Carpenter, formerly of Jim Beam, recently assumed the role of master blender, signaling not only a continuance of attention to detail to ensure consistency from bottle to bottle, but also a willingness to expand their lineup to other spirits bearing different mash bills, different finishes, and much longer ages, as we will be tasting tonight. And so, with all of their spirits resulting from the culmination of years of dedication and craft, balancing bold spice, smooth flavor, and a delicious finish, and firmly committing to bringing rye-forward whiskeys back to the forefront of American culture, just as it was in pre-Prohibition times, Redemption is in effect redeeming rye. See what I did there?
Sorry, I was finishing up the Bulleit. I'm sorry. Were you saying something? No, nice job. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we're drinking today is the Redemption High Rye Bourbon Single Barrel Select, as Ed said. Its mash bill is 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley. This is MGP's High Rye Bourbon. The proof is 105. There's no age statement on the bottle, but it is 4 years. And that's all I have. So let's smell this.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. So this is a single barrel. That's making it a little bit unique, I think.
Getting so much alcohol on the nose for this.
Corn and vanilla.
Okay.
Which is not anything special, I understand that, but that's what I'm getting initially, and alcohol.
Honestly, I'm not really getting a whole lot on the nose. I'm really getting in there, but
The more I smell it, I'm starting to get something more. A little sweet, it's like a dried fruit.
it's really subtle.
Almost like an apricot.
So on the nose, what they say, they have vanilla wafer. Oh no, what did you do? Did you snort it?
I was tilting it back and like a little bit of drop went right into my nose.
Now you're really tasting it.
Yeah, I've committed to this taste now.
Yeah.
I've snorted it.
On the nose, vanilla wafer, rye spice, and a hint of red fruit.
But what's a red fruit? Like,
It's so indistinct, and I think that the smell bears that out. You taste it?
I just did, yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's nice.
Wow, I have to tell you, this tastes like a rye. There's a sweet bourbon beginning to this. Corn, caramel, vanilla, and then a rye spice.
Yeah.
I mean, as peppery as it can be.
A wave of spice hits you in the mid palate.
Fueled
Yep.
with alcohol. You actually do get like an oak ending.
Yep. And there's cherries on this one too.
Yeah, it finishes medium to long. Because it does end. The burn stays, but not in an unpleasant way. It just an appropriate ending.
So here's the palate and the finish. So elegant oak, crisp cherries, and black pepper. On the finish, they say lingering with smooth seasoned wood and faint mint.
Let me taste it on the water because I feel like some of the
Yeah.
flavors may be muted by the proof.
I agree. We're going to try a little bit of water.
Because it was nothing exceptional, but it was good.
Ooh,
Ooh.
nice.
Wow, cherry.
Yeah.
Just popped out.
It's a cherry bomb.
Wow. I tell you, once again, and I don't have time to argue with you. For like, I drink it right out of the bottle. I drink it 128. I pour it right in my anus. However
Whoa.
you want to drink, but
Wow.
there is a whole experience when you use some water or some ice. It changes.
And these two whiskeys bear that out because the first whiskey, to me at least, tasted better, had stronger, had a nice flavor at full proof. And then when you watered it down, it brought out the oak and the spicy notes that were kind of a little bit off-putting. With this one, the opposite happened. We were tasting the off notes with the high proof, and then we put the water in it. It smoothed it all out.
Yeah, I have to say, I think I like this one a little bit better than the first one on ice.
Yeah.
Maybe neat, I would nod toward the barrel strength, but
Yes. If you're comparing neat, the Bulleit tasted better than the Redemption. But if you're comparing on the ice or water, the Redemption won.
I mean, I think for the price point of both of these, just for the record, I wouldn't pay $1 above MSRP for either one of these. Like,
Yeah.
like I'll overpay sometimes for Blantons or Willet rye, some things that I like. You know, I've already gone higher for Henry McKenna tenure than I was a year ago because I like it.
I get where you're going with this because I agree. These two aren't special in that way.
Right.
They're not special enough to spend $10 more for them if you can find them.
So if the Bulleit barrel strength was 69, I'm not buying it.
No.
If the Redemption high rye bourbon was 57, I'm not buying it.
Right.
I can get other stuff for that. But if they're where they are, they're a good buy.
Yeah.
And talk about making cocktails at 105. Redemption might make an interesting old
I
fashioned.
make a good one too, yeah.
Or Manhattan for that matter. So it's funny. I don't like my high proof whiskeys neat, but I do like them in my cocktails. I don't like thin cocktails.
Well, because cocktails are going to add other things to it, and
Yeah.
and they're necessarily going to water down whatever whiskey you put in there. So you do need a whiskey that's going to hold up to all that.
Right. So anyway, let's take a break. Let's wash all the glasses, and we'll come back with the second whiskeys.
So we have a second round, and we have something special planned.
Oh, we have stuff to talk about because it's our 100th episode, and
Right.
we have things to talk about.
Okay, so we're back for the next two expressions from Bulleit and Redemption. The first one up, Ed's going to tell you all about.
So the Bulleit 10-year, which is the same mash bill that we just enjoyed in the barrel strength, which is 68% corn, 28% rye, 4% malted barley. We'll repeat it as much as you need it at home.
Until you get sick of it. Stop saying it, Ed, stop.
It's got a really good deep. I don't know what would you call it color. It's got a good amber, but more like a mahogany almost.
Is it deeper than the barrel strength? Probably not, right? But it's very dark in here. I like it dark in my apartment.
So in the studio,
in the studio,
the barrel strength is darker, but that's just because it's not as watered down. We're talking about 91 proof versus 117,
but not as dark as you'd expect.
Right. So the Bulleit 10 years always been a private pleasure for me.
Private pleasure?
Well, I mean, I don't really broadcast it. I don't
jack off to it.
It's not like that. It's not like a barn fire. But but if you
flashback,
episode
37.
Mommy, why is that fire?
What is that fireman doing?
Why is that fireman playing with his fire hose?
Oh my God. I just set the podcast on fire and left and jacked off to it.
With the struggles that I've had with the other 10 years that I enjoy, which is the Eagle Rare, which is harder and harder to find and more expensive. The Henry McKenna 10 year, which is harder and harder to find and more expensive.
Stop saying harder and harder.
To find.
Oh.
The reality is the Bulleit 10 year, it's not as good as those two, but I'm beginning to wonder, is it or isn't it? Because I really do enjoy it when I drink it on its own. And so I think I'm going to be thinking about that when I drink it today, because it's been a while since I've had it.
Yeah, this is the one expression of the four that I've had before but don't remember.
Right. When you look at this, the nose, you're looking for like a floral, some fruit, and maybe a hint of leather on the nose. See what you get.
Okay.
I actually do get the leather. It's funny.
Yeah, you really do. It's like a shoe store.
What's funny is, do you remember the fruit that I said I smelled on the barrel strength?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember which one I said?
You said apricot.
I did. And in the tasting note here, it says floral, apricot, almond, hints of leather.
Oh, nice.
So in the 10 year, we're supposed to smell apricot, which is the same mash bill. So once again, I'm surprised at how well our nose and our palate have progressed.
I mean, I guess I would have to have an apricot here to remember what an apricot tastes like. I don't think I've had an apricot in a long time. But yeah, there's definitely a fruit characteristic, a light fruit, like what I remember an apricot smelling, like a peach or a nectarine or in that family.
It's a strong 91, if that makes sense to anybody out there.
It does. It does.
It's got an oak punch when you first sip it.
Oak punch.
Oak punch. But man, the rye's heavy in there. Like it's again, it tastes like a rye, but yet it has the sweetness of a bourbon. It's
a nice tasting whiskey. It is much weak. I don't want to say weaker. Much less strong than the first two that we did, but it has a nice flavor to it.
To me, it still has a lot of burn to it for being only 91.
Oh, really?
Do you get a hint of maple syrup on this?
Maple syrup. Not really. I get caramel. It's a syrupy quality, but it's not that thick.
I was talking about the taste, not the mouthfeel.
Yeah. I'm not. Are you?
I did.
Okay.
I thought I did.
What I'm not getting on this is the cherries that I was getting on the barrel proof. It's a much lighter fruit flavor, like we were saying, the apricot genre, not a cherry. Space. Just using different adjectives. Do you agree?
I do. This might be a little bit more one-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's so good, though.
It's fantastic. So we are absolutely splitting hairs with these, and we're doing that on purpose because we know that these are all really good expressions, but we have to make a comparison somehow. We can't just say, oh, these are all the same.
I mean, for a 10-year...
We've come 2 years.
A 10-year under $40, I mean...
Oh, it's terrific.
Yeah. I'm sitting on a globe for like 2 minutes, see what the flavors open up.
Ooh, nice.
Much better on the globe.
I'm getting a lot of the cherry back. I'm bringing cherry back. What? You other brothers don't know where it's at. What?
So,
everyone is turned off the podcast.
Right, and we've gone to 2 listeners, me and you.
Twos of listeners.
Twos of listeners.
First we were 7s, then we were 12s, then we had a lot, now we're 2s.
Right. Got too big. It's just you, me, and Gabe and Andres at home going like, yeah, well, I don't know what that was, guys.
Yeah, you guys
chased everybody away.
You guys are weird. Stop being weird. So do you have the tasting notes for these? So we can compare what we're tasting? You would love to. I thought that's what you were looking up.
I did, and then... I
got distracted?
Well, here's why. I pulled up tasting notes, right? And this is what it says. Watch, it says...
Okay.
Toasted oak and spicy black pepper.
Oh, Jesus.
That's it.
That's nothing.
Right, and there's no finish. So give me a chance. I thought I had them up. Jesus. Don't judge me.
This is what I'm dealing with. For 2 years, people. 2 whole years.
Damn lucky to have me. All right, here we are. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So, palate, spicy and wood jump out strongly out of the gate. I agree with that. Okay. Overlapping notes of cherry, vanilla, and leather. I agree with that.
Yep.
That's right on. This is an enjoyable yet relatively shallow amount of depth in the palate that's over with far too quickly. A gentle sipper with a spicy bite. Saucy.
A spicy bite.
The finish here, I'll read what they have. There's a fleeting intensity of flavors here. There is an immediate rush of dark fruit and rye spice that quickly peters out, leaving a dry, flat, and overall one-dimensional aftertaste. Wood takes over and dominates the long finish, overstaying its welcome and lasting longer than it should. Uniqueness, which I've never seen before in a tasting note.
Uniqueness.
But Breaking Bourbon, where I'm getting this from, is known for it. The Bulleit 10-year has a very spicy, wood-forward palate, but packs a little more of a pop. Surprisingly, the extra age in the barrel does little to mellow the 10-year spice. The extra aging does bring some much-needed depth to its palate that the regular bourbon lacks. This is important since the Bulleit 10-year is priced in the $40 range and will be more likely consumed as a sipping bourbon versus being used as a mixer like the regular Bulleit tends to be. Beyond its spicy character and great nose, there is little here to call overly unique to distinguish itself from the regular bourbon.
Oh, that's fucking bullshit. It's so much better than the regular bourbon. Just the regular base bourbon, that's what they're comparing it to? That's fucking ridiculous. I'm salty about it.
Comparing the Bulleit 10-year to other $40 and $50 bourbons, its wood and spice rates can be overbearing and won't be for everyone. Even knowing that this is sourced from Four Roses, it's still difficult to recommend this over the less expensive Four Roses single barrel. Which we agree.
Well, I would agree with that.
Which we agree on. If I'm going to drink with this or Four Roses single barrel.
Oh, Four Roses single barrel kills this.
Yeah, that's not even.
But this isn't a single barrel.
Right.
This is a blend of their 10 years.
Yeah, so.
That's not a fair comparison.
No, it's not. And Four Roses makes both of them. Four Roses is certainly not going to send its best shit this way, let's be honest.
There was also something earlier you said in the uniqueness.
Yeah.
The extra age in the barrel to mellow the spice. That's not what happens in the extra aging.
Yeah.
If you extra age it, you're going to get more of that wood spice and less of the sweet flavors, aren't you?
I mean, you'll smooth out the over character of the whiskey, but you're not going to minimize the spiciness of the formula.
Yeah, I think that whole thing is bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm very mad.
Well, it's written by Eric.
Oh, fuck Eric.
And 4 years ago. Eric from Breaking Bourbon. Scott just waged war on you.
Hey, what's your name? Eric. Fuck you, Eric.
Fuck you, Eric.
All right, so let's so let's move on to the
I love it.
the Redemption 9-year barrel proof bourbon.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to try this.
Wow, I'm excited too. I'm a little bummed because I didn't enjoy the 10-year Bulleit as much as I did the last time. I still enjoyed it a lot, but the last time I had it in a bar, which was quite a while ago, I remember thinking, wow, this is really good. And I already have another bottle of it at home, so not that I'm not going to drink it. It's not that level.
Well, I think, you know what? I think we were comparing this Bulleit 10-year with their regular bourbon.
Yeah.
The regular bourbon is really pedestrian. It's used as a well bourbon in a lot of bars.
It's everywhere, really.
It's right. It really is. And it's
good.
Just...
It's good. It's okay. It's good.
It's just fine.
It's what you expect it to be, though. And it's really funny how your perception goes into how you like something.
Oh, yeah.
So, because sometimes you're in a bar, that's it. Like, that's what you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jack, Jim, and you see Bulleit Bourbon. You're like, oh, fuck, all right, give me the Bulleit Bourbon. Like, that's my best choice. You know?
Absolutely.
Because it's 5 to 8 years, and I know what it is. And you're like, you know what? At that point, you're like, thank God I have it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm like, yay, I have Bulleit Bourbon.
Definitely. So when you compare the 10-year against that, I mean, of course it beats it. Of course it does.
Right. But to compare this to, like,
fuck you, Eric.
compare this to the Four Roses single barrel.
I mean, that's just bullshit.
It's like saying, well, you know, when you put it up against the Hill Rock Sauterne finish rye, it surely doesn't it comes up short. Well, yeah, it would. When
you put it against the Pappy Van Winkle 25-year weeded bourbon.
Wow. You had to go that far.
Well,
you climbed a mountain there.
I did. Without the Whiskey Sherpa. He's not here tonight. So, Ed, feel free to make fun of Gabe.
Gabe, I will. Here's my problem with Gabe this week.
Oh, no. Sorry, Gabe.
We already knew he didn't like bacon. Now, that's fucking bizarre to me. I understand if you don't eat bacon for health reasons, Or if you're Muslim, and to my Muslim brothers and sisters out there,
Assalamu alaikum.
and happy Ramadan to you. I know it's tough. We're talking about bacon, but it is dark where I am right now.
And alcohol, which they're not actually supposed to
Right.
drink.
So they're not expecting a lot of Muslims listening to the podcast, but
well, that's true. Yeah.
so besides them and Gabe, who doesn't like bacon, today we're messaging with each other, and he has to mention, out of nowhere, unsolicited, nobody fucking asked him, I don't like meatloaf. You don't like meatloaf? I don't like to eat that much red meat. Well, first of all, have you never heard of turkey meatloaf? Half my meatloafs I make are usually 75% turkey with like just enough ground beef to give it some flavor. Like, or you could make it all. I've made chicken. I made buffalo chicken meatloaf one time where I actually made like hot sauce in the middle and made buffalo chicken fucking meatloaf. There's so much you can do. I like to make meatloaf in muffin tins, Gabe, where some people like onions. I put onions in like two people's and two people don't like onions. And I can make.
Oh my God, it's a meat muffin?
Yeah, meat muffin.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I want one.
Have you met the muffin man? So it's like, I've also, that's how you make stuffings like that too.
Ooh,
You can
stuffing
make-
muffins.
Yeah, stuffing muffins are amazing. If you never made them, they're all crunchy on top and all. Oh my God. If you're not going to have it in the bird, you might as well make stuffing muffins.
Wow.
Then you can have like nuts and like berries for the adults, and then the kids don't have to deal with it. Or if people, once again, I'm not a big onion person. This is why I came up with the stuff. And,
Okay.
So
But like meatloaf is the most anodyne of things. It's so unoffensive. It's just
It's like-
meatloaf. Just eat it. It's delicious. It's meat. It's eggs and breadcrumbs and whatever you want to put in it.
and he likes meatballs.
Right.
I'm going to say this as clear as I can to you, Gabe. Regardless of what Joe says, Gabe is a very good host. He puts good food out, fresh Italian bread.
He is.
If we have, meatballs or a pork, sometimes pulled pork, he'll have nice provolone and some peppers.
He's always got a pasta. He orders pizzas as well.
He's wings. He's a tremendous. The hostess with the mostest. Gabe.
He's just not allowed to host that often.
Right, that's a whole other thing. But
whole other thing.
you can't tell me that you're going to serve me meatballs and then a big giant meatball called a meatloaf. You're like, oh no. It's like saying I like quiche, but I don't like scrambled eggs. Like you're a mental patient.
And I said, wait, so you don't like meatloaf or bacon? Do you want the terrorists to win? You are un-American.
Seriously, you have to like one or the other. In fact, have you ever had bacon in meatloaf? It's unbelievable.
That's what I want right now. I want you to make me a muffin meatloaf with actual chopped up pieces of bacon.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
All right, we're going to take a break right now. We're going to come back with muffin meat. It'll take about 3 hours.
Oh, so we're back with our meatloaf muffin bacon bits.
Oh my God.
We're going to have a cooking show now. Anyway, what are we doing?
We're doing the Redemption 9-year barrel-proof bourbon.
All right. So this is a barrel-proof bourbon. Its mash bill is 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley. It is MGP's low rye bourbon, even though it's 21%. The proof is 108.2. Age is 9 years.
It's got great color.
Yes.
It's really got great color in the glass.
Really cool bottle. It's different than their other Redemption bottles.
It mimics like a fat Jefferson bottle.
Or maybe a shorter, squatter Woodford Reserve bottle.
It's got Elijah Craig top to it, a big fat cork on top.
Yeah, it has a cork and with like string on it. It was very intricately packaged.
It's definitely unique.
This was, again, almost $100.
MSRP is 90, so you weren't that much over it.
Right? So what are you getting on the nose?
Yeah, so.
All of these is just cherries. Like there's cherries on all of these, which is kind of amazing.
All these have been very traditional: vanilla, caramel, oak, corn. This one, I'm getting a little cinnamon.
Agreed.
Like the candy though, like almost like the Red Hot candy, not so much the spice.
Okay.
And a little bit of like the oak char.
There's definitely some oak on the nose. It's sweet and spicy. It's very nice. I think I like the nose of this of all
This is
four.
the best nose. Do you get any mint? I'm actually getting a little bit of a mint.
Oh, yeah.
I've been on a mint kick today.
You have been. There is a little bit of an herbaceous quality to the
maybe-
nose.
yeah,
that could be what you're interpreting as mint. I'm not saying it's not mint. It could be mint. It's so nice. It's a really nice.
All right, I'm going to take a sip of it neat.
Okay. Oh, that was not what I was expecting. That's different than the nose.
Wow, it's completely different than nose.
It's so complex.
There's such a burst of flavor initially, and then dry, like a dry finish.
Yeah.
I'm still getting it though. On the tongue,
Yeah,
it's still there.
it's still there.
But the throat dies. It's weird. The finish stays in the front of your mouth.
Yes.
So weird.
Yeah, the finish is still on the tip of
Wow.
your tongue, but it completed its cycle on the back of your throat. But it's still there. I still taste it on my tongue. Mm-hmm. Wow. This is terrific.
It's really good. Like it's missing one component to make it amazing.
And do you know what that component is?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I'm tasting it going like, wow, but not like, whoa. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm not like, whoa.
You're not like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
This is so complex. There's so many flavors dancing around my mouth. This beats all of the ones that we've had on the table. Do you agree? I don't know if it's worth $100, but it's worth more than what we paid for the other ones.
Right. I mean, the thing is that I can have both bullets for the price of this.
I see what you're saying. I see what
if you're saying which is the best dram of the night, this is by far the best dram
But
of
if
the
you
night.
were going to give someone a gift, a good friend for their birthday.
Sure. That fishing. He completely fished.
So what actually are you taking? We've said that it's complex, so let's try to tease out some flavors on the palate.
Oak, right away.
Oak is your first flavor.
Yep.
I'm getting a brown sugar, creme brulee, like it's a sugar complex in the beginning, and then the dark fruits come in after that. I'm actually not getting a whole lot of oak. Is that what you're getting? Oh, you're also drinking it on water. I am not.
Oh, yeah. I drank my neat already. Now I'm drinking.
It's terrific. We really splurged on this episode.
Yeah, we have 4 bottles of shit. Good shit, though.
It's our anniversary and our first episode reboot, so why fucking not?
I think when we look back at episode 1, and we have listened to it the past year, it's rough. You know, we hear a lot of rawness to it. But when I step back, I actually am filled with a lot of pride when I look at the model for what we love to do is there. We picked 2 expressions with interesting backgrounds and good flavor profiles. Bulleit Rye, we picked basically because we actually thought it was the best bargain in the whiskey industry. And nothing has changed our mind on that for the last 2 years. It is still, in our area, about $30 a bottle or about $49.99 for the 1.75. So we looked back at that. We delved into sourcing and MGP in our very first episode and have brought that full circle to our Whiskermentary on sourcing that just passed in January. So that episode has a lot of foreshadowing for Scott and I and the podcast. And
it does. And it set a bunch of precedents, like pitting 2 distilleries and or 2 whiskeys or more from the same distillery against each other. That's a format that's lasted all the way through until today.
Right. We just feel like one whiskey is a little boring when it has something to contrast. It's fun to compare and contrast.
Absolutely.
When you only have one whiskey, it's the best whiskey.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the worst whiskey is no whiskey.
Well, one of our worries about doing that initially, I remember, is that, are we going to run out of whiskeys? And of course, that's just silly because 2 years hence, we have so many more whiskeys and new whiskeys are coming out every day.
Yeah, we've never done Michters.
Michters.
We've never done
right.
Barton's by itself. So there's ones that we've featured them distillery, but we've only dipped our toe in the water. There's so many expressions, that we can still enjoy.
Sure. Okay, so why don't we wrap up the Redemption 9 year?
I just poured some more on the globe. I'm going to give it a chance to melt down a bit.
Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of water in mine. It's sweeter. You get some like cocoa notes almost. Oh, that's really nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of the rare times that I like a little bit of water on my high proof whiskey. This is terrific.
It's a little bit better with water. And what's good about that is it'll make it last a little longer too.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true. This is fantastic. I'm not unhappy with the price I paid for this. I would probably not pay $100 again.
Right.
I want this to be $89. This is wonderful though.
Yeah.
This is incredible. So on the nose, let's see how we did. This is whiskey jug again. On the nose, rich dark fruit, oak, leather, complex baking spice, pepper, dark sweets, oil, nuts, and cocoa.
All right. So I had oak.
You had leather?
I did have leather, yes.
You said complex baking spice. You said cinnamon. You kind of said the red hot cinnamon.
I did. I mean, I was off from that.
But I think you might have been like combining the high alcohol content with the baking spice and saying that was
sweet
red hot.
On the initial flavor too.
Well, rich dark fruit was the first nose. But okay, so that was the nose. So this is the palate. Oak, which was your first tasting note. Rich dark fruit, which was mine. Vanilla, complex baking spice, dark sweets, pepper, leather, oily nuts, and cocoa. The cocoa I only tasted on the water. The finish is long, oak, dark fruit, vanilla, and corn sweetness.
Well, I need your help here. I got a tasting note on the palate that says oak, caramel, a word I don't know, vanilla, cider, and nuts with a bit of smoky char.
What's the word
What
you
is
don't
that
know?
word? Looks French to me. You know how I am with French.
Oh, bergamot.
Yeah, what's bergamot?
Bergamot is, it's sort of a small orange, and it's actually the primary flavor in Earl Grey tea.
What? Is it like one of your Kapari things where you fucking
Yes,
have a...
yes.
How many magic oranges do you have in the fucking world? One that makes Kapari, one that makes Earl Grey tea. I'm fucking sick of these little tiny mystery oranges around the world that are popping up to make me look stupid on the podcast.
All right, so in honor of our
Yeah.
100th podcast,
Right.
we're going to do our top 15 whiskeys. Now, an interesting thing happened when we compiled this list.
Yeah, I was very proud of us. What happened was Scott...
What had happened was...
What happened was Scott released a list to me of every whiskey, and it wasn't every whiskey. I caught 3 that he missed, but it was most of them.
You bastard.
He sent us a list of all...
I'm only human. You whore.
Random Belligerents. It's a whore edition.
Of all the whiskeys that we featured on the podcast. He said, pick your 15 and I'll pick my 15, and that'll be the starting point for us to come up with the top 15 whiskeys that we've enjoyed. And so...
Right, and I said if we got any
Yeah.
correct, they would automatically make the list, and then we would compromise on
Yeah,
the
we'd
others.
argue about the rest.
I figured maybe 6 or 7 would get on the same.
We matched 11 out of what,
110
whiskeys.
whiskeys, yeah.
And
It's pretty amazing.
I think our top 4 were the same 4. They were just in a slightly different order, so we were just wrangled that in.
Yeah.
We had no real dispute until number 8. When Scott had the well, he'll read
We'll
the
talk-
list.
yeah, we'll talk
But-
about-
So go ahead, Scott.
Number 15.
Greenspot Irish whiskey.
This is one that really performed well on our episode where Gabe got his jacket number.
Number 22.
We'll make it up. It's fine. So on the Whiskey Madness, it came in second on our first one. So it's performed tremendously well on the podcast. We've been to some tastings with Green Spot and Yellow Spot and Red Spot. I felt we need to have an Irish whiskey on there. I fought to have it on there. It's an amazing expression and it's delicious. And so it's our 15th.
Yeah, spoiler alert, there are no more Irish whiskeys on
No.
this list. The Greenspot is really unique for an Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
Number 14.
The Weller Antique 107 Bourbon.
Right. This is the one that we tasted tonight just to be sure. I'm telling you, we really work hard at this. I brought my stash over. I have like a quarter of a bottle and we tasted
Right, it was like we tasted it tonight just to confirm that.
Yeah. Because we really just don't want to put it on because it's Weller. We're like, are you sure it's supposed to be on here?
Are you sure?
And I like to criticize some of the Buffalo Trace selections, but the Weller Antique 107 is a great whiskey.
Number 30.
The Nikka Coffey Malt Japanese whiskey.
The Japanese episode with Anders was an eye-opener for me. I mean, I really enjoyed the Toki, but this one, and we had the grain one for the Whiskeymentary.
Whiskey Madness.
Fuck. So the Whiskeyment... So the Whiskey Madness, we had the Nikka grain whiskey.
Yes, the one that just passed.
Which is like a more of a bourbon than a Scotch one.
Right, because it has some corn and some rye in
Yeah.
there. It's
And
not 100% malt
Yeah,
barley.
and it was good, but I remember the Nikka malt being very special.
Yeah.
And so we both had it, didn't we?
Yes, I believe this was one that we both had in our top 15 that we matched.
It was a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
Number 12.
The Journeyman Last Feather Rye. So and I don't think Ed likes it as quite as much as I do, but
I don't, but it's still good. But it wasn't on my top 15, but it was probably on my top 25.
so if you're out there and you mainly agree with my palate, you will also love this. If you've not had it, I encourage you to buy it because it is like drinking cherry candy. It's 60% rye and 40% wheat.
Right, it's a weeded rye. We were on a weeder kick for a while, for like 6 months, trying all the weeders because we couldn't get Pappy. So we're like, well, let's see if there's any other weeders that we like. Like, what's the big thing about the weeded mash bills?
Right,
And so we explored that. And then we found this one, and Scott was like, holy shit, this is like my whole everything right here.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
And it's very good. And it would not be on there for me for the top 15, but he's allowed to put one on. And this was his, and I'm okay with it. It's a very good whiskey.
Right.
Number 11.
Old Forester 1920 Prohibition. This is a favorite of mine going back a long time because this was one of the first uptick of the Old Forester expressions that I bought on my own. And it was about $55. And I was like, should I do it? But I had been reading up on it and I was like, yeah, I think I'm really going to like this. And I fucking loved it.
Whiskey heads understand what we're talking about. Like the first time you buy a $50 bottle, like, oh my God, I'm buying a $50 bottle. Because when you're buying $17 Jim Beam White Label, $50 seems so big. Now
Yeah.
it's like $50. I'm like, yeah, okay.
It's a commitment.
I don't stop until hit 70. I'm like, what is that? 72? What is that?
Well, now you don't.
Right.
But back in the day,
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, we
If
have
I bought
our-
a whiskey for $75. I would have stayed up all night. Like, what did I do?
we have our story about the Maker's Mark 46, where we didn't want to pay for that. And then we didn't like it. And then
It
we
was
were
like-
really salty
It was
about
like
it.
$45 15 years ago. We're like, what the fuck is this? We had a mixing with ginger ale, making like bourbon and gingers.
And I was like, we don't
hated it.
like this. Ew.
I had it the other night though. It was not bad. Remember?
Yeah.
I gave it to Scott to try. I'm like, try this. What is it? He's like, oh, it's pretty good. I'm like, the 46, dude.
I'm
He's
like, fuck you.
The 46.
Fucking tricked me, you bitch.
Random belligerence. It's a Trixie Bitch edition.
Because he vowed never to drink it again. He was like, I'm never drinking this again. It's piss. But it wasn't. It's actually our palate was piss, which is
Right. And you know, that happens. So now we're going into the top 10. And we're going to give each one their Whiskey Advocate score.
Number 10.
Four Roses Single Barrel. Whiskey Advocate score 95.
Right. This is one we went to a tasting in the local lounge that we belong to. And we had this and we had the small batch and then the small batch select. Four Roses is an institution. They deserve to be on the list just because they're Four Roses. I mean, I feel like Four Roses should be like, you're telling me that we don't have a whiskey that can be on your list? Fuck you then, Whiskey Tangent Podcast. So to keep them from being belligerent and because they make a nice whiskey and because Scott loves this particular whiskey.
Oh my God. If you listen to episode 36, where we had Anders on for the throwback Old Forester versus Four Roses episode, we compared the 1897 Bottle and Bond Old Forester with the Four Roses Single Barrel. And oh my God, the Four Roses Single Barrel was like an orgasmic experience for me.
smacked it down.
I just couldn't believe how delicious it was.
It was really surprisingly how
And
good
it's
it
like
was.
$45.
Yeah, it's something that I think I need to drink more of.
It's one of those things, if you're hesitant. What?
What is it?
Did I say that?
Are you okay?
I don't know. Hesitant
Yes.
of getting the Four Roses Single Barrel and it's in the mid 40s, you are not going to be disappointed. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Baker's
Elijah Craig.
No.
Oh no.
Wow.
I made that up.
Yeah.
Number 9. Not Elijah Craig.
Baker's 7-year single barrel bourbon. Whiskey Advocate scored 93.
All right. Well, they're wrong, but it's okay. It's better than the Four Roses, so I don't know what he's talking about. It's
not.
It's a right. This is my add-on.
Yep.
This because this was not in your top 15.
No, it actually was.
It was in
actually
your top 15, right?
That's why it's above, because we both had it.
We
Yep.
both had it, right? So which
This is the compromises
which is
we made.
strange because we had 11 that were the same, but somehow the Four Roses snuck into 10. But anyway,
Well,
so
there were other. There's a lot of compromise. We're not going to go through our entire thought process.
For a whiskey that we have slept on for so many years, which many of you
Yes.
in the whiskey drinking world
Yes.
sleep on Bakers.
Yes.
You're making a mistake.
It's a sleep on bourbon that you should not.
It's 107. It's got a tremendous proof to it. The flavor profile is spectacular. You can make cocktails with it, but at $64, I think you should just put it on a globe and just sip it while you smoke a cigar.
It's delicious. We compared this with its predecessor,
Yeah.
which was the Baker's 7-year small batch, and we compared the two of them.
They're both very close.
And God, they were so close that we were getting confused on the episode that we tasted them on.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Blanton's Gold and or straight from the barrel. We couldn't decide.
Scott had straight for the barrel. I had gold. This is from the episode with Doug and Joey.
Yeah. The Japanese Blantons.
He brought the 4 Blantons.
You can't get them.
expressions.
You can't.
I like the gold better. It's 105. It's a very good starting point for me. I thought it was delicious. I did like the straight from the barrel a lot, but I'm not as much as a high proof guy as Joey, Doug, and Scott is. I don't think.
Yeah. And I think that's why we kind of put these on here, because out of the 4 that we tasted that night, our top 2 were the gold and the single barrel. We just had them reversed.
Yeah, Scott liked the gold a lot.
Yeah.
So we're giving them an honorable mention because it was hard to decide which was which. They're both delicious.
The Blantons is an amazing story. So if you don't know the Japanese connection of Blantons, please listen to our short about Blantons first, and then listen to our Japanese Blantons, because it explains the entire history of why Blantons was made and all the expressions that you really can't get anymore. Although the gold is supposedly now available in America.
Yeah.
If you can find it under $200.
Right. Good luck with that.
Number 7.
Willet Family Estate Rye. Its Whiskey Advocate scores 90.
Well, Whiskey Advocate is on opium. because fucking Willet Family Estate Rye is fucking spectacular. Whether it's 3 or 4 year, the complexity of it, the flavors, the vanilla,
It's
the
so floral.
oak and the leather and just spiciness.
God, if you like floral rye,
it's delicious.
That's in your wheelhouse. Just get it.
There's nothing like it, and there's nothing that Willet makes that is bad. Rose Creek is not bad. Noah's Mill is bad. Kentucky XO is not bad. The Pot Still is not bad. They're all very, very good, in fact. And everything that company puts out is money. They won't expand. They don't make themselves any bigger. They just make what they make every year, and it's good enough for them.
Number 6.
Corsair Dark Rye.
The newcomer to the table.
86 on the Whiskey Advocate, which is fucking low.
86.
Okay, so I need to explain the 86.
Yeah.
So Corsair Dark Rye used to be called Rhymageddon from Corsair until they changed the name. I don't know if Rhymageddon was the exact same thing as the Corsair Dark Rye. So that 86, which is the only one under 90 in our top 10.
Wow.
So I just wanted to explain that.
And we were talking to them this week because Corsair ended up winning our Whiskey Madness this year.
Yeah.
And they were like, holy shit, they were thrilled.
Yeah,
Like
they
they
were
really were. They're like
blown away.
They're like, can we use excerpts of this for our social media? And can we use your
can we use
images?
yeah.
They're like, hell yeah, man. We're great to be partners with you.
It's just
I will just say this to everybody.
so
I
fucking
just
good.
sipped the dark rye.
Yeah.
It's better than all 4 whiskeys we drank tonight. So this is what we're talking about, the magic.
That's why it's number 6.
This is why it's a magical whiskey.
Number 5.
Midwinter Night's Dram. Its Whiskey Advocate score is 90. But see, Midwinter's has different expressions every year, so I don't know which
All right.
one that I gave.
It's still a 9. I mean, not. I
know,
guess,
right?
Listen,
It's still in the 90s.
Hey, the month I'm going through, I would take a 90.
Right.
Right. This is one of the first high-end whiskeys we ever drank together.
Oh, yes.
We were in Atlantic City, ready to go to a concert,
Iron Room.
and we told the story a dozen times, but
You're going to hear it again.
You're gonna hear it
Because this
again.
is what drunk people do.
there's no list. There's this guy,
Right. The bartender was the list.
the owner, bartender, manager. We have no idea. He's like, "What do you like to drink?" And we're like, "Give us something we never had before." But Scott's like, "I like rye." And so the shelf is just like 6 bottles deep. It's like a fucking clusterfuck of bottles. And he sticks his arm in there and he pulls out
So
this
disorganized.
little, like an
Yeah.
ounce and a half left in the bottom of the bottle. He's like, "Well, we can't really charge you for this." He pours us each like a 0.75 for free.
Yep.
And that's how we first had Midwinter Night's Dram.
Yeah.
And we loved it. To us at that time, it was the best whiskey I had ever had.
Absolutely.
At that point in my life, which was probably about, 2.5 years ago? Did we have the podcast yet? We didn't have the podcast
No,
yet.
no.
We weren't podcasting yet. We were just drinking whiskey.
We went to see Dweezil Zappa.
Right. Zappa Plays Zappa. Great concert. If you could have seen it. Stevie Vai was there. Awesome. Siobhan knows I have a fetish with him. But anyway, so...
Wow. I see a threesome with you, Siobhan, and
Oh
Steve
my
Vai.
God, I would so do that. If he had his guitar strapped on and just his guitar strapped
Ooh,
on.
strap on. Oh.
Yeah, just him.
Wow.
Him, the guitar, Siobhan, and me, and some pedals. A couple pedals.
Relax. You just need to relax, Ed. Just relax. Just let it.
Yeah, let it flow, man. Plug me in. Plug me in.
Wow.
Number 4.
Barrel Dovetail. Whiskey Advocate score 94.
Well, we had an amazing barrel spirits episode. We tasted like 5 whiskeys. All were amazing. But of them, the Dovetail, which I have a bottle at home, and I have another one in the mail, Scott.
Jesus Christ.
Because when I joined Flaviar, that's what they sent me to rejoin Flaviar. I'm like, they sent me a bottle of Dovetail. I'm like, what? I have another bottle of Dovetail? Well, see what happens. See, Scott, you should be happy because if you know me, everybody, I don't drink the one Dovetail. I drink the second one.
And he brings the first one over here. It's not what I would do, but I'm the beneficiary of what he does, so I'm
Yeah.
cool with it.
Number 3. Angels Envy Rye.
Whiskey Advocate score 90. Only 90.
Is price an issue for them? Is that part of it?
No, I think, honestly, a lot of people find it too sweet.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And I will say that at one point it was my favorite whiskey, and I've come off that because my palate's changed a bit. It's still in my top 5, and I think I had it number 3. Scott had it for number 2, which surprised me.
It's my favorite American whiskey.
Right.
It's not so sweet for me
Right.
because I have a very muted palate. So I need the
Right.
bold flavors. I need that
Right.
spice.
Scott
need
burned his tongue in 1998, and he's never recovered from it.
So the Angels Envy Rye, the thing that gets me about
He microwaved a
Angels,
Pop-Tart. for a minute. You don't ever microwave a Pop-Tart for a minute. He knows that.
The reason why I like it, because it has such complex changes as you drink it. You can taste different things every time you sip it. You can taste cotton candy. You can taste intense cherry sweetness. You can taste maple syrup. That's the number one thing you can taste on it. You can taste the rye spice because it's rye. And it's just so complex, and it's a chameleon of whiskeys. And that's why I love it so much. Ed likes to talk about the journey that a whiskey takes when you put water on it. But this one, you don't have to put water on it for it to take a journey. It takes a journey every time you sip it. Number 2, the Aberlour Abuna single malt Scotch.
Yeah, which we featured on our Christmas Eve episode. It is fucking delicious.
Whiskey Advocate score of 93.
I guess they don't give 98. So do they give 98s out?
I don't know. They gave the Four Roses single bar 95.
I mean, it's crazy that our number 10 has exceeded everything else we like.
God, I bought another one recently.
Yeah.
Just because I fucking love it so much.
About $90 though. It's similar to Angel Envy. Scott seems to like very expensive whiskeys when he gets to the top of it. So he likes Angel Envy in this. That's just 1A.
Like what I said about Angel's Envy, how it changes when you taste it. The additional things that the Aberlour Abuna gives you. It doesn't have that maple syrupy sweetness to it, but it does have the Scotch barley spiciness and also cocoa flavors. And it has everything else that the Angel's Envy has, but it has also all those things.
Wow.
And my palate has grown over the 2 years.
That's fair.
That I think the Aberlour Abuna is now my favorite whiskey. Number 1, Little Book Chapter 3.
It's a one-off, so you can't really get it anymore. And it's sad that it's our number 1, but the reason it's our number 1 is much deeper. It represents a journey of Beam Suntory itself, and particularly Jim Beam's distillery and Booker No.
And us.
Right. The 92 small batch release of Booker's, Baker's, Knob Creek, and Basil Hayden. And so Freddie No, the grandson of Booker No, he put together a cast strength version of all 4 in a blend that he tasted 53 different versions of it. And so he bottled Little Book Chapter 3 of really all the whiskeys that we grew up on, that we really became whiskey heads on. Knob Creek.
Except Baker's.
Right. Booker's, for us, Basil Hayden, Knob Creek initially. Booker's, Mike loved Booker's, so I drank a lot of Booker's with him.
Oh, really? Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's so dumb. He just liked the box. He's like, I can put nails in it and stuff like that. So
you can put nails in it and put it on the side. It's a fucking hardware box.
So to us, it was very spiritual as well, but
and nostalgic.
Damn, it still drank great.
It did. And so the interesting thing about this was because...
You think we should get out and take a sip?
Oh, we do have some.
We're going to get out and take a sip of Little Book 3. It's our number 1 for 100 episode. We're going to celebrate with a little dram with a Little Book. Let's do it.
All right. So we're back.
Yeah, we poured a dram of the Little Book Chapter 3. Siobhan has joined us because she's never had it, I don't think. It's my favorite whiskey. We have about a third of a bottle left. I would love to get more, but Scott, why is that so hard?
Because they don't make it anymore. And I found on caskcartel.com, the one that they have is selling for $900.
My birthday's coming up in January. If anybody wants to send me, it's right around the corner in January. If anybody wants to send me
right around the corner.
Hey, if Steve in Florida wants to send me a bottle of Little Book for my birthday.
Actually, this is coming out in May, so.
Yeah, if he has plenty of time to save. He's going to have to take several paychecks to get to that 900. Steve can't just come out of his pocket.
Come on, Steve. What's wrong with you?
I do propose we could start like a whiskey.
A GoFundMe page for Ed's birthday. He wants to.
Like we transfer like $20.
He wants a Little Book 3.
We're going to do a whiskey GoFundMe page?
No, just us.
I see. I should mention before we taste this that our Instagram page, which is at Whiskey Tangent Podcast, after 9 months has finally been launched.
Yes.
Thanks to Siobhan.
Siobhan finally got her content up there, and we had like 1 comment and like 15 likes.
That was 21.
Ooh, 21 likes. Ooh.
Yeah.
21 likes.
Just like how
Yeah, we have 2 bottles of whiskeys and a dick pic, and pretty soon we're up to 21.
And the dick pic has one report.
One
for,
report.
Like,
right. I got somehow I got it shut down already. So what's our? Do we have a whiskey advocate score for this or whatever it is?
We do. It's 93. They give it.
Oh,
I know. I know.
Tough graders. I thought my professor was a tough grader.
All right. So let's give it a taste. Awesome. We did a whole short about this.
Yeah, it's so good. We've drank so many whiskeys tonight. We've had barrel strength. We've had high rye. This is fucking spectacular. This is the best whiskey I've ever put in my mouth.
Ooh, talk about journeys in your mouth. Holy shit. Like,
Truly adventurous.
Freddie, no, wherever you are, I know you listen to us every week. Listen, Freddie, you did a great job with this one. Like, this was a brilliant idea on your part.
and our top three, we have the Little Book, the Aberlour, Abuna, and the Angels of Mirai. There are three different types of whiskeys.
Completely.
So this is our favorite bourbon.
Yes.
Aberlour Abuna is our favorite Scotch.
Yes.
Angels of Mirai is our favorite rye. So that's
Maybe.
our...
What's number 4?
It's the Dovetail, which is our favorite blended whiskey.
Right. But also Midwinter might be my favorite.
But that's a blended rye. So
Right. All right. So Angel Envy is my favorite rye.
how dare you?
I know. I went
Ruined everything. My whole concept.
Do it again. Start again. Go ahead.
And Angel's Envy rye is our favorite rye.
Absolutely.
Just agree with me.
Random belligerence. Ed should just agree with Scott edition.
Absolutely. But the Little Book that we're drinking, as a whiskey drinker out there listening, this is a precious elixir. These ounces will not be replaced.
I was going to call it gorgeous, and I
Yeah.
thought it was weird, but it's gorgeous.
Like it's like
fucking
we're
so
drinking
good.
this and we will never get this back again. It's $900 a bottle. I'll never have another bottle of Little Book 3 unless I become best friends with Freddie
Unless
now.
they release a barrel-proof Basil Hayden, we couldn't possibly create this.
Right. So I plan to talk to Freddie No at some point because I want to know why this is not a yearly release.
They absolutely should
They
be.
should. I'd pay $150 every year for this bottle. I'd drink it, enjoy it all year, and then wait for the next one.
And I would drink yours. All right.
This tastes amazing. So I drank more whiskey the last 2 years than I drank the 8 years before that.
So the 110 bottles of the list, of which Ed says I missed 3, which I only missed 1. So it's 111. So we drank 111 whiskeys on our podcast in 2 years. But that is not the amount of whiskey that we actually drank.
No, because we have whiskey that we drank in the lounge.
Several.
We have drinks we drank in other places.
Several.
And we have bottles here that we didn't include.
Several.
So the 100 episodes is unbelievable to
Yeah.
me. When we talked about this
Yeah.
2.5 years ago as a fantasy, to be sitting here on our 100th episode drinking tremendous whiskey, my favorite whiskey of all time with Scott and our great friend Siobhan. I thank all of you for your support. I wish there was 600 more of you, 6,000 more of you, because I know how hard we work to come up with a great product. I know how hard Scott works editing, and I know how fun this is. I feel bad for the people that aren't enjoying it. Jump on board. Now's the time.
I feel bad for people who haven't heard us yet.
Yeah, like, what are you waiting for? We're fun.
Because we know each other so well. We've been friends for so long. That's the synergy that the two of us bring to it. This has been a thrill to do for the past 2 years. And I hope we do, I don't know, 5, 6 years down the road. I don't know where this is going to go. And you know what? I don't really care where it goes.
I don't care if I'm putting out 2 episodes a year like when I'm 70. I don't care.
I'm having an amazing time. We have great guests, the friends who come on and do it, including Siobhan, Sue, Jeff, Gabe, honors the girls,
Mike, Callum,
Doug and Joey. We hope to have Kristen and Jay back. We're going to have
and Rachel and
Marty on. Hopefully, when this terrible COVID ends,
but Vladimir Putin and
we're going to have Putin on. Maybe Trump. Who knows?
Trump.
Biden.
Well, I'm the greatest whiskey drinker ever.
Kamala Harris. Wherever, or just everyone.
Everyone. But this will all be cut because we're way over time right now. But
We've recorded 2 hours and 13 minutes.
how is that possible?
I don't know.
Well, it's our 100th episode, so if you don't listen to it, then just fucking bug off. Then.
No, right. There's no limit to this. Usually I like to keep our episodes under an hour, but this was going to probably be.
Right, we're looking for 100 minutes here. I want a 100-minute episode, Scott. I want it to be 100 minutes.
100 minutes.
Exactly.
So an hour and 40 minutes.
Exactly.
Jesus.
Exactly.
Well, it certainly could be.
So that's what I want.
All right. So I don't know. Ed, take us out.
Well, this has been a journey. We've had tremendous whiskeys tonight. We went back and visited Bulleit Redemption, which you haven't really talked about for 2 years now.
It's true.
I mean, in detail. And look how much we've grown up, and look how much they've grown up. Holy shit. The Redemption 9-year was spectacular. And so was the 10-year. And so was the High Rye 105 proof Redemption and the Barrel Strength. They all were good in their own way. And if you can get them for the price that they are priced at, it's worth your money.
Yes, I would agree with that.
None of them are as good as the Corsair, nor the Little Book 3.
We gave you our top 15.
But, right. None of them
adjust
are in the top,
accordingly.
Right. None of them are in the top 15, but they're all really good. I want to thank Siobhan for her support.
Thank you, Siobhan, so much.
For running our social media and keeping me in line. And for the Whiskey Tangent podcast, we thank you all for tuning in for the last 2 years and the last 100 episodes, and we can't wait to see what we give you for the next 100. And so I'm Ed.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Siobhan.
And we will see you next time. Thanks so much, everybody. Number 100 in the books.
Yeah.
We're in syndication, bitches.
Later.
If you enjoyed this podcast episode, be sure to check out our next episode, which is way better than this one.
Oh, yeah.
Also, follow and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Whiskey Tangent. And follow us on Twitter at Whiskey Tangent. You can follow me personally at That Whiskey Guy. And follow Scott at Giant Cup of Awesome, spelled AWSUM, just to be annoying.
Hey.
You can email us any questions, comments, or love at whiskeytangent@gmail.com. And of course, you can find us always at our podcast website, whiskeytangent.podbean.com.